Hello and welcome to another edition of On the Road with MTDCNC. This is the podcast that's filmed and broadcast every Friday evening at 6 o'clock, where we talk about what we've been up to this week and anything that's broken in the news, and also what we're going to be doing or covering in the days and weeks to come. Today I'm joined by Colin Griffiths and Lyndsey Vickers.
Hey.
How are you, pair? Let's start with Colin. You all right?
Yeah, all good.
Ladies first.
Well, that
Well,
is
if we're
a
going to
lady.
start
That's
like this,
what I'm
Lindsay,
saying.
you've just opened a massive... Actually, you just got the fridge door. Open a massive can of worms, my friend.
Why do you keep worms in the fridge?
Where else are you going to keep them cool?
How are you, Colin? Are you all right?
Yeah, shall we mention football or move on swiftly?
Well, I'm going to come back to that. I am going to mention it,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'll so I'll
Because
come
I've
back
got a little story about that.
Okay, yeah, we'll come back. Lindsay, okay?
Yeah, all
Another
good.
week closer to
Yeah.
the
28,
What?
no, 27
What's
days
going
I'm
on?
counting.
27 days to
What's
go.
happening in 27 days?
Don't know. I'm really hoping it's not going to take 27 days. Just the next week or so will be great.
Colin,
I
tell
hope
me
you are,
about
otherwise I'm really embarrassed.
tell me about the football. I mean, where did you watch it, and what did you do to recover on the day after?
Well, that was my little story, if I can get the words out. I watched it at my brother's house. We had the garage doors open, the TV. It was great until we lost, obviously. Getting home was carnage. The streets it was like rush hour, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because
Well, I was in the garden.
I was on the bike, so I was all right, so not a problem. But I made a schoolboy error. Could guess who arranged filming on the Monday?
You did.
Correct, yeah. And obviously the guy I had to film, poor guy, I think he'd had a few beers, shall we say.
Well, it was such a shame, wasn't it? What about you, Lindsay? Did you watch it?
I watched a little bit of it, in and out. I was a bit nervous, to be honest. So I
Yeah.
just...
Well, you don't want
kind
to
of-
be
Well-
rising your blood pressure, do you?
Oh,
'Cause
that's fine. I'm happy with that. But yeah, it was intermittent. But it was a great game. It was a really, really good game.
said
well,
Bruce Forsyth.
yeah, well, it's funny you
Good
say
game,
you were
good
out,
game.
actually, because British Rail did ring us, actually, on the Monday, and they said one of
no.
our employees was on the train making a right racket,
no.
stuffing calzone, and it wasn't appropriate. So, but it wasn't until I explored this in a little bit more detail, they said that Mrs. Calzone, or Mrs. Zone, I should say, had a habit of doing this inappropriate behaviour.
What? Sorry.
Oh,
you're getting a-
God. I love Paul's jokes because he's the only one who laughs.
Yeah,
what
that
is
was
that?
a terrible-
It's inappropriate behaviour on a train. It's stuffing calzone. Mrs. Zone. She's stuffing cow.
Does
anyone else get it?
No.
I'm sure.
If anybody
Joe
is listening
used
to
it
this,
as
can
an
you put
excuse
A comment.
to eat tons and drink tons.
So no change
But
then?
No change. He's got his gout back, and I think Mark enjoyed it. Gio, of course, absolutely loved it. I took it in my stride. So yeah, it was not a very enjoyable evening.
Gio is a very likeable chap, but not at the moment.
Right, no, he's all right. He's okay. He's quite contrite.
Yeah.
Contrite, what does that mean? You can take tablets for that. Now, if I see him, I'm gonna pat him on the head.
Did you get the joke?
No.
Nobody, can anybody who's listening, can they comment wherever they can comment and say, I got that joke? Because if you do, can you please get in contact with me and Lindsay?
Because no one's going to comment. Don't give it away, Paul.
Okay, so anyway,
give up your day
I
job.
just spent hours preparing that joke. I just tripped up at the last minute. Anyway, so we've had a great week. So Monday was obviously a bit of a write-off, but talking about jokes,
Actually, can I just say,
No.
it wasn't a write-off because you were meant to go up to County Durham and down to the South Coast, and then both of those jobs got cancelled.
Yeah,
Why'd
yeah,
they get cancelled?
Well, it was because we thought Boris was going to call a bank holiday. We were told that he was going to call a bank
Some
holiday.
of
Support.
us didn't
won.
cancel, Paul.
And Mark was coming up from Kent, and we'd got this plan to go up to Blue Diamond Engineering. And of course, everyone was like, "Do you know what? Let's just enjoy the game." So we postponed it until the 20th. So I had a party in the garden with lots of flags on the fence. A couple of the guys from the office came round, and we had a really good time.
How was calzone? Oh, Mrs. Zone, sorry. Did she come round and stuff you?
Is that what it was?
I don't know, Lindsay. I honestly don't know.
If you can rewind this podcast, and
please
listen
God.
to the joke
Please
again,
God.
and
And delete
you got
it.
Talk-
Monday then, I was working. I went down to see our good friends at Dugard in Hove. Very nice, lovely train journey down. And guess what I found out?
What did you find out?
That they were working.
Right.
Oh, we found out about the Hanwha sliders. So, newish to the market, only 4 years in the UK. One of the biggest sliding head companies in the world, did you know? Do you know how many they made last year?
How many?
Well, I'm asking you the
Yes.
question.
2,000.
10,000.
2,600.
Really?
Yep, absolutely.
So where's the biggest market for them?
Not in the UK, unfortunately, but they're trying to change it. It was, I'm trying to think what Mark said. Not Mark, it was Colin. It's Colin T, because I'm Colin G.
Colin Thompson.
Yeah, Colin Thompson. Where was it?
Were you drunk?
Was he German? No, no.
Germany,
you
they
drunk?
do they do well in
I think he said Europe. I can't remember, to be honest. There's so much information that was coming at me because we were talking all sorts. Because part of that was a Slider Swarf Special. SS, is that an alliteration? Can I say that?
yeah, no, it's
I can say it. I don't know what it means.
it's an acronym.
Slider Swarf Special. No, it's not your dipstick. It's an alliteration. Anyway, moving on swiftly. So, but we're talking about sliding heads from Hanwha. They are.
They
great
talk a lot
machines.
about the power, don't they? They talk a lot about,
23 kilowatts main and sub spindle. Now, 23 kilowatts. That I mean, you wouldn't even
I
get that
think
on
if
a
you,
big.
if you were trying to tackle, what does power give you? Well, power gives you the ability to hit parts harder, doesn't
Absolutely.
it? Remove more material. So I
Absolutely.
think that's the areas of interest which they promote heavily about those machines. Did you see much of the other kit? Did their Kitamuras out down there while you were there? Did you
They
see
did. I must be honest with you. Didn't concentrate. My head was purely SSS
Yes.
sliders.
Yeah.
There you go. But like I say, super powerful. Great options in terms of controls. Your Fanuc and let me get this right. It's Siemens. So there's a lot of there's options there which people they like their Fanuc or they.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Is it, how many sliders? And I know we've got the Swarf slider special coming up, but how
And
many sliders
alliteration.
do have operate with Siemens controls? You don't see many, do you? Don't see many. It's mainly seems to be Fanuc controls.
Fanuc, Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mainly it. So yeah, maybe people out there can say we're using.
Interesting.
Siemens
I wonder if anyone's not bought a slider because they
Yeah.
like the Siemens control, but they've just
Absolutely.
gone away from it because they couldn't find a Siemens machine. But now they
Yeah,
probably
but
could.
when I saw you recently, you said there's not a lot of machines that aren't Heidenhain. You don't find very
Horizontal
many
machining centres.
horizontals
You don't. Yeah, I've never seen one horizontal machining centre with a Heidenhain
with a
control.
Heidenhain.
And if
control.
I'd be stood correct, I will be stood corrected or
Stand
stand
correct-
corrected
you'll
if
stand
somebody can
corrected.
actually
Yeah.
find this one because I've never even seen it as an option. I've always just seen the controls being either Fanuc or Siemens.
They've also got, I'm going to cover off this very quickly, huge range in terms of bar diameter. So starting 3 mil, so obviously some tiny, talking your intricate parts, your medical, your watchmaking, up to 45 mil. Now for a slider, 45 mil, that's a lot of bar going in there.
Yeah,
So
it's,
really, really
then
good.
then you're starting to get into the
Fixed
fixed
head.
head market, aren't you?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's good. We're actually got to go. I know there's a machine gone into Dalau, which Joe was at actually on Tuesday this week. We'll talk about them in a minute. There's a machine gone in there which we're going to see in September. It's just being installed at the moment. So I know Colin's having some success.
CT, that is Colin Thompson, not Colin
Colin,
Griffiths.
yeah, not yet,
Well, I'm
CT.
having success, but different areas. But then very quickly, they did a test run on machining. 2 microns this machine held for 8 hours. Came away and
Wow.
they were like absolutely amazed by it. And last but not least, I've forgotten what that was. There you go. How's that for helpful? So
It's really good. That's the
super
best
accurate.
bit,
Yeah,
that's the best bit you've
super
said all
accurate,
day.
powerful. And I think with these days, people still aren't convinced. They're not sure about sliders because they think big batch runs, big batch runs, big batch runs.
Not the
I keep
case,
saying
is
it. Not the case. Get your application, put it into them, and they'll come up with a solution for
Well,
you.
you only have to look at the success that companies like, I mean, I can only speak for Star because they're the ones I speak to most, but the success they're having this year and previous years,
Yeah.
not just down to the market changing, it's down to the technology changing and the mindset, isn't it? Being able to
being
to
educated.
adapt it.
Yeah. Well, that's why we are doing. We're going to push it. The SSS, the alliteration, Swarf Slider.
Can't even remember the
Colin,
name.
it's,
of
I
it.
know.
it's an acronym.
It's not an
It's an
SSS
acronym.
because all the words
Acronym
start.
or an
An
acronym?
acronym.
No,
it's
an
an acronym.
Anyway, can we move on?
Yeah,
Mr.
please.
So
Mr.
we
Zoney,
also have
Calzone.
our good friend Mike Harris in the studio, and I'm sure he
What
would
was
have
this
he would have
joke?
appreciated my joke that I've just told, and he'll probably use that. Mike, if you're listening, I'm sure you got it.
Could you
Sure
do it in a
want
James Bond style voice, please?
Did you know that Gio and Mike were actually doing some how-to videos on the Bison products, how to fit and clock up a power chuck, how to thread a draw nut, how to change over quick jaws on manual and power chucks. So very much back to basics stuff, and those videos will be on the channel soon.
You say back to basics. Some people don't know that, and I think videos like that are absolute gold. dust.
They are.
really
It's educational. I mean, you look at a lot of our audience are people that haven't worked in a machine shop. So these are things that we try and get across.
Well, I'm going to mention sliders again. The classic, and you referenced it earlier, Lyndsey, was when you asked Paul about 4 years ago, what's the difference between guide bush and non-guide bush, and Paul goes, "Well, it's like it's."
I don't know.
Paul,
Yeah.
that was you said that, Lyndsey. That sounded
dunno.
like Paul, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's it, and that's
Yeah.
not undermining what your knowledge, Paul. Far from it. But little things like that, people
it's true.
don't know, and
They
we
don't.
assume they do.
And they don't. And what I also found out as well by doing a bit of research on bison is that they've actually got 20,000 products in their portfolio. And it's not just the things I mentioned that Gio and Mike were covering there, but they also do things like VDI tool holders.
You're not gonna list them all, are you?
Indexing fixtures, bench vices. So a business that's got a lot to offer. I want to now just touch on the Dalau. We mentioned about them having a handwire, but also Mazak have recently installed a machine there. Now, this is a question for you both. Turning a Mazak into a machine that is running 24/7, how much do you think that's cost Dalau to get it so it's running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Because that's the crux of this
We don't
story.
normally do, when we're putting stuff on the website and things like that, we don't normally mention price.
No, but so how much do you think it's cost them to turn a turning centre into a machine that is now running 24/7?
Centre running 24/7.
Well, what do you have to? What do you?
Well,
put
imagine a
into it?
robot or a cobot. What's the? If I tell you what it is that they've used, it would obviously. But how much do you think?
Right.
You
I
got-
would think like a robot loading pallet system or something like that.
Yeah,
So
but-
they'd have to invest in one of those, which, what is it, like 30, 40, 50,000? Is that too?
No, for the whole system.
Yeah,
I'm going to go 200 grand.
Okay, so
Oh,
so the
No,
So
Lyndsey,
out.
no, Lyndsey, have another go because you were just thinking of the one, not the
well,
one
no,
part, not the
she
whole.
doesn't need to because it's £25,000.
What?
Yeah,
You're
it's cost them
joking.
£25,000
I'll get me
to
coat.
There you
automate
go.
automate a machine to be running
So
24/7.
you didn't word your question very well there.
So
Paul. I
if
was
you
thinking
look-
the whole machine and everything.
No, so the machine they had already purchased, and then they wanted to turn it from what would be a, let's call it a one-shift machine into
Yeah.
a 24/7 production cell. And that has cost them, in fact, it's less than £25,000.
Wow.
So this just goes to show when
What
you...
have they
when-
done? What have they used?
It's either a robot or a cobot. I'm assuming it's probably a cobot, looking at the cost of that. But when you think about how much a machine makes in one shift compared to how much it can make in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, imagine how fast that return on investment
Well,
is.
you often, whenever we talk about robots, cobots, and everything like that, you always think, okay, well, you've got your operator. What are they on a year? When are you going to get that return on investment from not having an operator? I know it's all. There we go.
So just it's a
I think my
audio,
microphone's gonna
but
fall.
we had to move Lindsay's microphone.
Yeah, sorry.
It was drooping.
You just think, what are they saving with not having that operator if they can run lights out as well? So
They've
that's
still
what-
got the operator. People aren't losing their jobs, but it means
No.
that instead of one shift, the operator can set it so it's running essentially three shifts.
Yeah.
Now, Dalau are the biggest producer or one of the largest producers of PTFE products here in the UK.
What is PTFE?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and do you know what? I'm not even going to attempt to say it because it's polythesterfuran.
A sort of plasticky based product.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And there's obviously lots of types of that.
So I'm
But they-
thinking you've got your peaks, your acetals,
exactly,
your PTFE.
exactly.
That's
yeah,
what that Fleming's polymers, they make some of those.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this particular company export now to 35 countries around the world their product. Really big manufacturer. So I talk about Mazak, but of course we mentioned Dugard's in there as well. So both companies had real success in there. Joe was there. He actually did say that it was a 5-hour, 500-mile journey there and back, and he had 4 Starbucks and 1 McDonald's.
Yep, and then the rest of the time he was snoozing
Lovely.
because Ian was driving.
Possibly.
No, he actually did most of the drive back
Uh-huh.
home.
Oh,
Spoke
there
to
you go.
Ian.
Oh, really?
Very good. Yeah, normally he has a snooze.
Oh, does he? Yeah.
Well, while he's driving, yeah, it's fine.
We were also this week at Leader CNC, and myself and Gio were looking at a twin spindle turning centre, which has got the spindles facing you. Now the guys there,
Again, this is an audio program. That wasn't a very good description, Paul.
it's been
You actually did that.
yeah.
Again,
Well, and
it's audio.
It's
but
almost like
you've got the 2 spindles facing you, as opposed to them
Coming in from the left and right.
coming in from the left and right. And what made us laugh when we were there is
Not your joke.
Rob Prosser, great guy, known Rob for many years. He calls it a Dolly Parton machine. He said
That's-
they're actually
yeah.
called
Why?
Dolly Parton machines. Have you heard that?
Does it
yeah.
sleep on its back?
Well,
It's
it's
a Dolly Parton machine because they've got.
Imagine Paul with 2 hands in front of him and then grabbing hold of.
So if you'd have said
So
that from the beginning, people would have gone, Got it.
Yeah. So, well, I'd never heard that terminology before, but
yeah.
he was this machine they've had, and it was a cancelled order. It was going into an automotive company. These machines, when you've got these spindles facing you and you've got a turret on each spindle, they're real production centres. And what you can do is you can either do Op1 on one side and Op2 on the other, or you can do Op1 on both, or you can. But the key to it is balancing.
And what machine was that again, Paul?
This is a DMC.
A DMC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now this was an order they took from a company in Coventry for the whole engineering project was around about £300,000 because it included the all the engineering turnkey, it included the stacker systems and so forth. Now the order was cancelled. The company went into liquidation, and the order was cancelled right at the last minute. Luckily, they'd taken quite a hefty deposit. So what it's enabled them now to do is to go, do you know what? Well, we've taken a big deposit on this machine, but we still need to sell it. We need to move it. So for the right application, me and Gio were talking about the applications that fit. But they're now moving this machine on, or looking to move this machine on, bearing in mind without the engineering, for just over £100,000.
Oh, wow.
So
how's it loading? Is it got a
it's
gantry?
got a gantry. It's got a gantry on the top.
I'm thinking
Paul,
Takasawa.
some years ago, we saw... it was probably about 3 years ago, we went out somewhere. Where was it? A place in Coventry. It was a machine shop in Coventry, and a very, very similar machine. The Dolly Parton machine.
We can't say that. Is that politically correct?
Well, they basically just over £100,000. And the way you have to look at this is with the two spindles and the two turrets, it's like having two machines.
Yes.
So you imagine how much it would cost you to buy two turning centres and then automate both turning centres. So put a robot on both turning centres off and on.
Is it a gantry?
Yes, it's got a gantry loader.
I've seen this machine out in the...
Yeah, it's a gantry loader. Yep. We'll put in on the stackers. Quite a few companies do these machines. There's the Murata, there's the CMZ that they've got, which is slightly differently configured. But this particular machine for just over £100,000 is a real steal. And we were looking at it like, well, if you did buy two single spindle lathes and you did buy two robots and you did try and get the lot communicating all together, it's going to cost you a lot more money.
Gosh, yes.
Than having something like this that sits in a small footprint. We did a podcast with Mike as well, Mike Chovanovsky. I think that's the correct way to pronounce his name, and that will be really good because Mike talks to us about his journey.
Sorry?
Mike Chovanovsky. People know Mike in the industry. He's a terrific guy. He talked to us about his journey from when he started at Cincinnati all those years ago, back in the 60s, I believe it was, right the way through to today, and what's changed in manufacturing and machine tools.
How old is I don't know in person. How old is he?
He's 74.
I was gonna say,
he's 74. And
Mike, if you're listening, by the way, did Paul pronounce your surname correctly? Comment below, please.
Yeah. I know Gio asked Mike as well when we were there, and I think Gio got it right during the podcast that we did with him.
Is there an H in it?
Please God, no.
It's Chovanovsky.
I don't think Gio.
Not anymore.
Right.
No, there might be.
If it was an H, Gio would have got it right. But it was, he's been on some journey, still working now, 4 days a week and 1 day at home.
Fantastic.
It's really good. And Mike is he's such a good engineer, and he's such a charismatic guy, really good at what he does.
He's the antithesis of you then, Paul.
He
good
is,
engineer,
yes.
fun guy, knows his stuff.
Is he a mushroom?
Whatever antithesis, if I can say it.
Is he a mushroom? Fun guy. Sorry.
Terrible.
That was
Okay, well,
that was better than Paul. Yeah, that was better than Mr. Zoney.
Lyndsey, tell us about your visit to ETG with Chloe.
So Chloe and myself went to ETG. We met up with Mike Jerdin, who was absolutely incredible on camera. This guy, I just went, Mike, do you mind doing a video? And he went, yeah, sure. And just went straight to it. Incredible. We did two stock machines, a WT100 and a WT300.
Stock machines of what, sorry?
Nakamura Tomy machines. So they're twin spindle, twin turret with a Y-axis on the upper turret. Large batch runs, small batch runs, really powerful machines. I mean, we've been out to so many companies that literally rave about these Nakamura Tomy machines. What's interesting as well is the parts catcher that they have. So they have a parts catcher to take away the remnant, but they also have I think it's called a G arm that takes the part off. And so if you want to run it unmanned, then you can, put maybe like a rotor rack, hydro feed rotor rack or something on the side of that, and just leave it running and running and running. Really complex components as well, so you can do your short and your long batch runs.
Mike's a real asset to ETG, isn't he? He's a brilliant engineer, another really good engineer.
So good on camera as well. So, sorry, move over, Steve Brown, but if you're listening,
so
Mike's...
You're implying that Steve's no good on camera?
No, I'm saying Steve's great, but Mike is...
Steve's championship, Mike's premiership.
He's very good.
He's always on those Nakamuras. Whenever I go to ETG, he's always putting
machines
together a turnkey project or what have you, because of course that's what ETG sell a lot of their Nakamuras with turnkey solutions.
Can I ask a really, really random question?
No.
Okay.
If it's sensible.
Why have you got your sunglasses on, Paul?
So it's sunny outside today.
Okay.
Hot. It's going to be a hot weekend this weekend.
Anyway, sorry to interject.
Looking forward to spending the majority of it in the garden. Now, on the MTDCNC website this week, we've had some brilliant additions when it comes to videos from a few of the guys here. Sandvik Coromant, Joe's done some good technical corners. We've had videos from Roskamak, where they've invested in a Belia machine, a mill turn machine. We've had videos from Herco, Lyndsey, the tour you did with David Waghorn, which was
really
a really good video at A&M Engineering. XYZ also, this was a really good video actually, Lyndsey, the one at the company Eleanor Precision.
What was his name again?
Elliot?
No,
Richard.
who's the boss? Yeah, what's his
Demczynski.
Half an hour it took to...
Yeah, I didn't.
I'm joking.
Oh, now we're taking it.
I'm interested in the lathe on this one because I've looked at the CT65 HD lathe with Nigel Atherton on a couple of occasions, and I always thought it was going to be a really good addition to their portfolio. Big, heavy-duty machine, great capacity, 65 mil. Driven tools and so forth. But the control system, they were really impressed with, weren't they? The Siemens touchscreen control makes it so easy for them to program because they went from a manual stroke CNC machine.
Exactly
XYZ,
that. He went from a manual across to that machine, and he just really loves it. He just said it's made his life so much easier, making parts easier, quicker, higher batches, and it's just fit into the machine shop in such.
Because sometimes it's a bit of a challenge to go from, just using a semi-CNC machine up to something like that, because you've got to fill it with the work. You've got to learn the best ways
these guys
to make parts. But obviously there are...
like Lyndsey said, the touch screen and the programming was so easy. And he can go from... He's not really doing all the milling because we've got other guys doing it, but he can switch between the two. And
that's what they like, actually, about these machines, is the fact that they can jump from different... machines and the programming is very, very similar.
Yeah, and they bought another mill from XYZ because they've got so much work. There's a log jam, and it just made sense. Let's buy another one. It's perfect for what
so they've got. They had a bottleneck, so they had a larger machine, more powerful.
You say bottleneck, I say log jam.
You say log jam. Well, we can have a vote. Who understands which one better? But so you've got a quite complex machine, and then he had another XYZ, which was he said, look, I'm putting all of my 4-axis work on there, and then I'm just putting my simple work to go on there. And it was the right. You know what? When I said, why did you go for this machine? It was the fact that it was 2-week delivery time, right place, C-bills, price, everything.
Perfect.
It was just timing. Everything was right for it over the pandemic as well.
Good point for me to mention that I'm actually at XYZ in August looking at a new twin spindle turning centre, which they've just launched. It's just come in.
Is that the first one they've got in their product range?
It's the first one that's come into this country, that they've got in their product range. So it's good. It's a good... XYZ went into 5-axis machines with their UMC machine about 3-4 years ago, maybe a bit longer, but that was a brilliant step towards.
There's some good videos online.
Yeah, there is. That was great for the UK market. A lot of XYZ users wanted to move into 5-axis, but trusted XYZ and wanted to take their journey with XYZ, and they were now able to do that with the 5-axis. And there's a lot of installations out there, like you say, Lyndsey, that we've looked at too. Yeah. But now they'll be able to offer their customers and people that aren't using XYZ at the moment a twin spindle machine.
So just want to clarify, twin spindle, so it's going to be fixed head?
Twin spindle.
Twin turret?
I believe it's a single turret, but I'm not 100% certain until I get down to see it. But it will be great to see, and I think it just really adds that extension to XYZ's portfolio, which some of their customers are now requiring for one-hit machining. So
you've gone through some of the videos and things like that. One thing I want to mention is we caught up with MSC this week, who supply lots and lots of products, but it's not just about those products. It's about almost, I know you can't hug people, but embracing the engineer now and providing the whole solution for an application in their machine shops. But they've got the MSC Mill Max, which we've done a video on, which has been really well received. Basically, you're tap testing your spindle and your tool, and it means you can run basically faster, more efficiently. You can increase your feed rates, your speeds and things like that. And whereas before, if you had chatter, you'd sort of dial it down a bit, this system means you can actually dial it up and do it safely. And it's a great, you need to see the way it works. It's got a cockpit and then like an accelerator, so it shows the green areas where you can pump that those speed and feed rates right up. What I'm alluding to in a very long way is they've got a great example of one they've been out to recently where they're doing 1,000 castings a year, up to 3,000 castings a year. They've tap tested this, the tooling, half the cycle time basically. They've improved the surface finish, and it's just an absolutely fantastic result.
Do you know what I like in it? We had good catch up with the guys earlier on in this week, and what I like in MSC too, and some of the principles that they're trying to put across to the market now is going back probably 2 decades ago, maybe not even that. Engineering companies always used to have production managers, production engineers that used to undertake all the programming, the planning of projects and parts. And gradually these guys, for reasons, skills, shortages, and companies looking to streamline processes, some companies have lost those abilities, and they've lent on the machine tool suppliers to be able to deliver those aspects, so the turnkey element. And that's why the turnkey is such a buzzword within the machine tool industry, and companies like ETG and all the guys we work with have applications engineers that can create and craft solutions.
It's part of the sell as well, though.
It's part of the sell, and it also means that the engineering company doesn't have to try and get the best out of the machine because they don't know it as well as the machine tool company. Now where I'm going with this is that MSC are very, very into putting their arms around a company and not just doing what you've said, which is a great success, and that product is brilliant, but also looking at the business and going, if you haven't got the skills to maybe plan your work correctly, buy the right inventory, get the right tooling for the right part, or even drive your business forward in the right direction. If you just want to lean on a supplier that can provide you and put your arms around you in that way, then MSC are certainly that. It's not just the products that they're supplying, it's the skill set
Paul,
of their team.
if an engineer starts out, with their own business, I want to make these parts. They're working on the machine. As their business grows, they're doing less on the machine, and then they're doing more kind of paperwork, admin. So they're not really doing the original job that they said they were going to do. Where do they gain those skills? And of course, it's a daily basis. It's a learning curve for them. But they've got this whole new skill set to learn, to be able to run, to schedule, to do exactly what you're saying. Whereas another company who is specialist in it can come in, wrap their arms around that person, and then they can be doing more of what they want to do and what they got into the industry for. Do you know what I mean? Is that what you're trying to say? Because I think that's quite important.
It's down to, it's like when you run a company, you always want to employ people that are better than you. Okay, I failed miserably, but but you did that one. You went into that. You want to do that because you need, you should never be ashamed to say someone's better at something than I am. You want the best from everything. And one of the things I've always found with engineers, and even my dad's been in engineering and all his life, and he used to work with companies trying to help them be to win business and be more successful, but often they don't want to listen. They didn't want to listen. They think that they...
What's your dad's name again?
Mr. Jones.
They think that they know better. They think that they know better, and basically, often they don't. And you need companies. Someone's coming in back, as you quite said, take a step back and let people come and say, do you know what? Maybe you're not doing that in the right way.
Absolutely, because they might have been doing this, making this component for 20 years. Technology has moved on massively since then, and they might not know. I mean, a very simple example, tooling. They might have one supplier go, this is the tool, but actually MSC have got a range, hundreds of different products, and their applications guys will say, actually, they're not just selling a tool, whatever it might be, an M-Mill.
Choice.
And this one is perfect for this application, so they'll look at the application, and they've got the engineering knowledge and skills.
That comes down to the guys that work.
They're not just a catalogue.
No, they're
but one thing as well, Lyndsey, you said about people coming in and they're not just sitting at the machine. Their business has grown, and they've got to do all the software and the managing and things like that. And that ties in with two things. When I first joined MTD, Paul was out all day and filming and doing stuff. Now you're an MD of over 20, or a company with over 20 people, which I know but you've had to develop and grow, and you've had to look at other things, and that's what engineers need to do. And that ties in with what I'm alluding to is another side of things is having your software. And one of my customers is PSL Data Track, and they, you go to engineers and they've been doing this for 20 odd years. How do you do that quote? Oh, bit of a, back of a fag packet, and their system is
it's all set.
Software system. You do your quote, you do your processes, your status board, and everything like that, the whole way through the machine shop. And people need to embrace this technology, whether it's PSL Data Track or other production control software, because it streamlines what they're doing, they can be at the machine doing what they love,
what they want to do. I mean, you're right. We employ 20 people here. 19 of them are better than me.
I'm looking at Lyndsey. Lyndsey's looking at me.
I don't really know what to say. I don't think there is anything to say.
Other news this week, good videos from Haas on the control, which James Leake did with
Brilliant
you, Lyndsey.
video.
James Leake is an absolute expert at not just the Haas product, but presenting the benefits and features as well.
One good thing about the control, can I ask? Just one. Okay. No.
I can tell you that the control from the front end hasn't changed in many, many years, and this is the big point with Haas, is if you used to program a Haas 15, 20 years ago, you could still do it now. Obviously, a lot's moved on inside the control to make it easier and more powerful. Yeah. But in general terms, when you look at what a control looks like now compared to 20 years ago.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
That's what.
Why fix it if it's not broken?
Dugard are now offering the Pinocchio range of Pinocchio range of lathes, and these are very well established brand around the world.
Now,
Pinocchio.
Excuse my ignorance. Are these the big sort of
big oil country lathes?
Okay, yes.
Flatbed solutions, conventional machines. Really good. It's a good addition to their portfolio actually. GM Machinery have got the new Victor F76. That's been launched. I don't know much about that machine, but we'll be finding out more when we go to Victor.
So for those who don't know,
vertical machining centre of sorts.
Yep.
And also we've got new machines on the horizon from Herco, which again was another video that Lyndsey did with
Love those
Dave,
controls, Cafe Engineering. We went to see Cafe Engineering. Charlie, it started out end of 2020, middle of COVID, got his Hercos. What does he like about them? The controls. Absolutely, and
it's a win.
And the guys at Mill CNC rave about them.
Onto a winner with their software. Next week we are at Superstar Components, Blue Diamond, the job we were supposed to do on Monday this week, which we got postponed because we thought we were going to have a bank holiday, which unfortunately we didn't.
Some of us did.
Melbora Engineering in Luton, Marla Tooling, we're at Soditech, we're at Lister Bearings. I'm back at Matsura speaking to Dom about a new machine which is going to be launched at an event in September, and we're at DC Swiss as well doing a case study.
Busy.
A busy week, and of course, lots to see next week, and you're doing the Swarf Special Slider, which is an acronym, and that's going to be coming to the channels on August the 1st.
Acronym.
It's an acronym, but it's not an acronym. It's an alliteration.
It's an alliteration. And
Put
next week, I promise
below, please, say, Paul, you're a fool.
Next week, I will come prepared with a better joke. I did have another one, but I'm not even going to take the risk. I'm not even going to take the risk.
Please don't.
What have we learnt this week? Well, we've learnt never to rely on England winning as anything as a team.
We've got to give them some respect. They got to the finals.
They did.
They did get to the finals.
Let's give them credit for that.
Outwitted at the end, unfortunately. We trust in the government as they're lifting restrictions on Monday, so let's look forward to that. And did you know, to close, that we're now closer to next Christmas than we are last?
That's frightening, isn't it?
How quick does it go?
Do you want my Christmas present list?
No, I dread to think what's on that.
No. X-rated. I think we need to finish there.
Yes. On that note, thanks for joining us, guys. And join us for another one, same time next week, 6 o'clock on Friday evening. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for listening to the MTD podcast. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Find more episodes on mtdcnc.com.